Alright, so I went in with this hair color from Walmart to try to cover up my eyebrows first. It didn't work, don't suggest. I couldn't breathe, and it didn't feel like it was supposed to be on the skin. Then I'm using the Maron white face paint, and I'm doing 2 layers of this. It's been a long time since I've used it, so not only do I think it's expired, but my skills are lacking a little bit, so I did do 2 layers. I'm just trying to get the most pure white possible here. Anyway, you'll find later on that I end up going with white face makeup. So I'm using the NYX Vivid Mattes in the shade White Now to go through and do my brows. I'm not a huge fan of gluing my brows down. I have very dark, stark brows, and I honestly thought I could pull it off and get away with it with this look by just like going through and coating all my brow hairs with the white eyeliner. And it worked out pretty well for me. This is me praying to the gods that this white face paint is actually going to give me full coverage, and I'll tell you, layering these two worked. I've used this face paint by itself and it did not work. It's the LA Girl Pro Mixing Pigment in the shade White, and because it's a pigment, it's really not super full coverage, so painting underneath helped get me this stark white, and I'm just using a disposable sponge for that so that I'm not ruining any of my Real Technique sponges. I'm not sure exactly what powder I use, but any translucent powder just to set everything in place, considering they're both creams. The paint will dry down, but I put that pigment on top, so I wanted to make sure. Now I'm using the red from the Maron Pro Palette face paint. It's the face paint that I always use. It's water activated. The palette's just very old, so I think I need to get a new one. And I'm just drawing Billy's little swirls on his cheeks. This is where the real illusions start to come in. I'm taking a black shadow and mixing it with white. I literally looked everywhere in my collection for a gray shadow, and apparently it doesn't exist within my collection, which is quite frustrating. So you can mix a black and a white if you have it, use a gray if you do, to keep more of a base color, because I had to go back and forth and blend and back and forth and blend. But anyway, we're going up underneath these cheekbones, and I'm using a gray to really bring that up towards my nose. It's going to give the illusion that these cheeks are popping out from the skin as they are on Billy's face, and this is a way that we're getting away with not using latex. And another trick to make that seem like it's popping out is putting my temple? Yeah, make sure that my temple looks like it's receding. So by doing this, it helps also give the illusion that that cheek is outward and protruding from my face, which gives a really nice 3D effect at the end. I also drew some little sides down my nose to make it a little bit more stark and sharp. He has a very big nose, so I kind of like contoured my nose a lot wider than I would if I was trying to make it flattering to my face. Then I'm putting his brows above my brows. Now, looking back at this look, if I redid this or could redo it, I would probably put my brows, his brows, below my real eyebrows. Just because I tried to put contacts in and just nearly about blinded myself. And I think that a better way to do that would be to draw his eyes on your eyelids. I didn't get that far because after spending about 3 hours on this look just to create a YouTube video and a few cool TikToks, I was a little frustrated. And my eyes were so irritated by the end of this because I tried to put those super old contacts in. Do not suggest, do not recommend. Maybe it's just not for me, okay? Now, I definitely go in with eyeliner and kind of deepen everything up and just really shade that out. Also, make sure you're giving yourself a butt chin. Billy has this nice little cutie patootie booty chin, so we're doing that. And I'm just darkening the lines on my lips to make it look like this is separate from the rest of my face, as well as shading it. So these lines do get a bit thicker than the rest. I also added a little bit of dimension to my forehead just to make myself look more cohesive all the way around. That way no area is blank and you kind of get that shading everywhere. I'm drawing a black line across my bottom lip, apparently not on camera. I'm so sorry about that. And again, this gives the illusion that my chin is one separate piece from the rest of my head. And some shading underneath the nose just to make sure that it really looks like it's protruding, and again, everything's super cohesive and sharp. He has a very sharp, big nose, so I kind of just added some shading. I'm using a reference photo. I highly suggest that when doing these looks and kind of mimicking and recreating everything that you can, but to your own face shape. Then I'm going to like genuinely block out my eyes. I'm using the Wet n Wild Shadow Stick in the shade Nocturnal Behavior here. It's just a true black, and it was able to cover more surface area. Now I am genuinely trying to get a true circle because his eyes are very circular, spherical if you will. So just using this black pigment, I'm later going to set it with black eyeshadow just to give a matte effect and make sure nothing creases or moves in a weird way. This ends up turning out really cool. I decided to paint my neck and my chest so I can draw on his bow tie and his shirt. This is totally optional. But if you were wearing this to a party, I would suggest doing this part just because you could throw a blazer or a jacket over top, which is what I end up doing later. And it really gives the illusion that you are truly Billy the Puppet. And I was super excited with how this was turning out. This bow took me probably half the time that it took to do this face makeup, which is kind of ridiculous. Also, I added a red lip with the same red face paint, and I'm using the bow paint is the same red face paint. That was a weird way to say it, but I want everything to be cohesive and match because Billy is very just black, white, gray, red, you know? And then I used a wig that I used last year, just cheapy one from Walmart for Mia Wallace costume, and I am Billy. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Like and subscribe.